Oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sean and Sax show. Saxony's not on right now. She's looking at the camera angle to make sure her boobs look fantastic. No. Babe, you're sitting on your mic.
You can't. Yeah.
Are you good?
It's the feet.
Who is this? What are they doing outside? Yeah. We're rolling, babe. We're on.
Hey, hi everyone.
Sax is back. How do you look? Does
Quality
the camera
control.
look good?
Yeah. Sometimes if it cuts our feet off or if there's like a funny frame, I'm just into details. That's all.
Good for you.
Looks great. Good job, guys.
Good for you. Guys, welcome to the show.
Speaking
Does
of
everything look okay?
details,
What about details?
Yeah,
What?
your shoes coordinate really, really well with you.
I'm digging this vibe.
Wild.
You know what I mean?
Little hot shirt.
I'm liking this vibe. This shirt is really cool. It's got guns in it. You can't really see, but there's AR-15s. It looks like I look like
Miami
Magnum.
Vice.
No, Magnum PI. What was his name? Tom Selleck. I look like Tom Selleck. I got enough chest hair coming out. Those of you that are just listening are really missing out right now. Just go to YouTube and watch because I look fucking fantastic, like Tom Selleck. Anyways, yeah, thanks, babe. You look great too.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, welcome to the show. So it's been an eventful week. It's been a great week, actually. And we're going to take not a detour, but I want to talk about something that I think is really cool in some of the lessons that we've learned here in the last couple weeks. Mm-hmm. But to set it up a little bit, those of you that don't know, I mean, if you're listening, you probably know who we are and what we do in the whole thing. But if you don't, I'll give you a quick recap, quick story. So I own a company called Lions Not Sheep. We have a lot of different aspects of that company, and one of them is an apparel company and blah, 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 blah. We started about 2 years ago, like legitimately selling apparel, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Anyways, long story short, the FTC came in last year and said, hey, you guys are maybe doing some stuff that's not according to the rules, blah, 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 blah. So, whatever. We started talking to them. We figured out that some of the tag things that we were doing, that they had changed the rules and we were out of compliance and yada, yada, yada. So we ended up fixing the situation. We paid a fine and we moved on. But recently, the deal just ended. This has been ongoing for almost 8 months, and who knows when you're listening to this, but this is very real and new in our space now, mm-hmm. So this is why I want to talk about it. This has been ongoing for almost 8 months now, and we kind of knew what was coming, and we knew what was happening, and we knew that the government, especially the FTC, was not our friend and not necessarily interested in helping our business or helping us, talk about.
Didn't seem like they were just interested in letting you know that there was a violation.
No, it was very, very, very political. And look, I'm not making any excuses. For all the trolls out there, like, oh, you're just making excuses. I owned it like a man. We were out of compliance for a number of weeks. There was a handful of products that we sold that were considered out of compliance. Cool. I made a mistake. Done. I wrote a check, righted the ship. Done and done. Cool. Mm-hmm. Not a problem, right? However, talking about defrauding and Trump this and Trump that and far right. I was called a Nazi. I was called fucking a white nationalist. Like, there were headlines that were like full blown, like just political fucking smear jobs. But it was fine. No. There's literally dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of them. Cool. But let's just kind of give you the backstory. And so it was the last 2 weeks, the two real emotional heightened states were when this all went down initially, when we first started talking to the FTC, and we had no clue. We were literally just ramping our business up. We were growing. We were still a brand new company. We were literally not even 18 months old when the FTC came in. And so it was weird at first because I'm like, dude, we're not really making any money yet. Like, those of you that are in the apparel business know you don't make a ton of money until you're at scale. And so I'm like, we're still a small company. Like, why are we getting freaking shit on like this? But it was also a scary thing because we're like, oh, shit. Like, the FTC, like, that's a big deal, right? Yeah. One of the 3-letter organizations of the government. But it was good in a lot of ways because it helped us understand business and processes and apparel and rules and regulations and things and stuff along those lines. But it was also a pretty emotionally heightened deal. As the CEO of the company, the guy who started it, the guy who literally started from one T-shirt to now having them, there was a point where the FTC wanted, they had their discovery period, and they wanted every name, email, phone number, and address of every one of my employees, my vendors, partners, ad people, anybody that we had ever worked with. And I'm like, no, No.
Yeah.
Look, man, if you got a problem with me and my company, let's have that conversation. Like, I'll make sure that everything's taken care of, but you're sure as fuck not going to start harassing my warehouse staff and my personal fucking assistant and shit like that. It got really hairy. It got really, really, really hairy. It got really intense. Yeah. And there was a lot of emotions around it. And then it kind of died off for a while there while they put everything out. You know, they made their proposed settlement. We agreed to it. I had to pay $212,000, which was really comical based off of the actual money that we made in that period of time. It's not even like different conversation for a different day. Mm-hmm. But last week it was basically finalized, and what that means is that the commission agreed, okay, well, we're going to accept your settlement. Here's your penalties. These are the hoops that you're going to have to jump through moving forward. We're all done. Case closed, move on to the next, right? And what's interesting is, like, there wasn't like a big, it was just the commission coming in saying, here's the deal. There was no court, there was no lawsuits, there was no anything. It was like, hey, you're not playing by the rules according to this. Here's your penalty. Straighten your shit up. Keep on moving, right? But when it was announced last week, it came out and it was fine. There was their press release, and not a whole lot happened for probably 2 or 3 days. And then all of a sudden it went viral.
Yeah.
Like biblical level viral. We were on the front page of the Drudge Report, which is supposedly the second most visited website on planet Earth next to Google. USA Today, CBS, NBC, ABC, NBC, blah,
multiple
blah, blah.
Foxes.
Fox, every Fox, like across America, from Des Moines, Iowa, Fox, to fucking Mobile,
Nashville.
Alabama, Fox. Literally, this story was picked up everywhere. My social media started going just absolutely fucking bonkers. I was getting phone calls from news stations, from media outlets, from all kinds of people. There were like 2 days there when it got really hot, where somebody floated Saxony's phone number out there. She was getting phone calls calling her a fucking cunt, talking all kinds of shit. Like,
they were just harassing over.
It was pretty intense. Pretty intense. They were calling me. We had to shut the phones off at the office because people were literally calling in, like, threatening to come to the office and, like, fucking hurt people and shit like that.
Yeah.
I got who knows how many fucking death threats. When's your next speaking engagement? I'm going to make sure that I'm there. Are there going to be guns there? I'll make sure it's the last time you ever speak. Literal, like, death threats. Like, wild shit. Like, wild shit, right? I'm sharing this for a reason, okay? This is not a relationship podcast. This is the Sean and Sax show. And the Sean and Sax show is a wild show. It's our life, right? And this has been our life the last couple of months, specifically the last week.
Yeah.
The energy, the intensity has been wildly heightened.
Indeed.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Is that a good way to share it?
Yep.
And what's funny is a couple weeks ago when we had our first podcast back from our little hiatus, we talked about that. And one of the lessons that we had learned in that process was, like, how my energy shows up and how you work with my energy, and how when I'm what are you talking?
Buzzing.
When I'm always buzzing, this is how you show up. And buzzing would be an understatement of the last couple of days, especially for me, right? Now, I wasn't like, this deal's done, right? We're still growing, we're still going. Like, this was not a sink the ship moment. This wasn't like, oh my God, we're going to lose everything, we're going to be homeless tomorrow moment. I don't mean that with any disrespect, but the reality is I built a life that, nothing hangs on one particular thing. But this was definitely big. This is my name. This is my brand. This is my company. This is something I've put literally blood, sweat, and tears into for years to grow and to continue to push out there. And so to have it all of a sudden be under the microscope, being yelled from the housetops as a fraud, as a scam, as me ripping people off, it was really fucking intense emotionally. Like, I was literally blocking like 100 people a fucking minute because it was just absolutely insane. I mean, the amount of shit that came to Saxony, to me, to my employees. I mean, my employees were literally getting death threats. Like, my CMO, guys were like sending them messages saying, dude, you should kill yourself. Like, wild shit. I would say that we were at a 10 on the energy level. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. Like 10 being a 10.
A 10 being a 10.
We were at a 10. I might have been at 11 or 12.
I'm just going to say 10 because it was all right.
We were at a 10. and look, man, everybody's 10, like, everybody's experiences are different, right? We happen to play a big game. We know we're playing a big game. We signed up for a big game. You and I signed up to play a big fucking game. You and I did not sign up to run the tables and be over here and just be average and normal. And I don't know what that even means, but like you and I both know that we're meant to do big things.
Absolutely.
In our hearts and our souls and our minds, not just, individually, but together, collectively. We both know innately that like we are here to have conversations that are deeper. We're here to shine a brighter light. We're here to help motivate, educate, inspire through our reality. Not that we're these fucking profound doctors that have 87 years of experience or whatever, right. But we're just like, we're going to play this game fucking naked. We're going to play this game all in, and that's just how we're going to do it. And that's a terrifying thing. Mm-hmm. That's a real terrifying thing in a lot of ways, because I was just talking about before we got on live here, the average human being is afraid to post a fucking video on social media. The average human being, the average person is terrified to literally record themselves talking about anything, whether it's their kids, their family, their work, their job, their fucking dog, and post a video to social media. Mm-hmm. We're literally, if there was a spectrum, we are the exact opposite end of the spectrum. We talk about everything.
Yeah. We
share everything. And there's this interesting dynamic of people that are like, well, that's crazy, or why do you do that, or why are you out here, why would you do that, why would you bring that onto yourself, whatever. And I think that, I know as we keep coming back to this conversation that, there's a reason for it. There's a reason that we're doing what we're doing, and there's a reason that the energy is as heightened as it is, and something that I have continually come back to, and we continually talk about, is like, unless you're playing in that world, how do you ever understand that world? Right. Like our last 6, 7, 8 months of our relationship, we wouldn't know what it's like to be in that space had we not been in that space. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't be able to talk about it had we not been there. We'd be fucking imposters. We'd be lying. Like, we now have an experience around getting married at 40 years old, building a new life, blending families, and then almost burning the whole fucking thing to the ground, having radical ego, radical scarcity, radical pride, to overcome, to rewrite new stories. We now have this experience in our business where it's like, okay, we're going to put you front and center in the front of the class. You're going to be standing there naked, and everybody's going to be talking, everybody's going to be laughing, everybody's going to be mocking. Now what the fuck are you going to do with it? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I share this because, like, I truly believe that the thing that's been the most powerful for me in the last, just say, week, is our own ability to take care of our own shit. You know what I mean? Because there was a couple of moments, or a couple of times where, I was at an 11, possibly a solid 12 on the spectrum, and it got heated. Mm-hmm. It got heightened between the two of us, and it was like, knowing that we have the ability to have the foundation that we do in our marriage. Yeah. Having been through the shit that we've been through, learning from it, putting new tools and tactics and strategies in place, it's made the last week significantly different than what I would have maybe thought we would have experienced maybe 6 months ago had this been the reality. Does this make sense?
Right. And I believe in the divine timing of everything. I believe that we had to have experience A for experience B to be successful.
Yeah.
And therefore, with experience C, we will have A and B to fall back on with those strengths we've learned. It's just like, anything you'd learn, like in school. Like, you have to learn to add before you can learn to times. And it's that whole process, totally, without a question. I agree with that.
Well, one of the other things that I really feel strongly about, and this is kind of one of the points that I wanted to make today, is when I was married years and years and years ago, I had two lives. I had the home life and I had the business life, and I never mixed them. Like, business was business, and if my ex-wife wanted to talk about stuff, I'd tell her, but I didn't come home and tell her about my day and tell her what went on and tell her the deals we were doing and tell her what money we were investing or where we were going or this, that, and the other. And so she never really knew. And so I never really had a partner in that space, right? And this is my own doing. I made that bed and I laid in it, and I didn't know any different. I didn't know how to have one life. It was like you have to be the business guy and the CEO, and then your dad and the husband and the whole thing. And that's a really hard place to be. And I know that as we talk to a lot of people, and I talk to a lot of guys, especially in like the Lion's Den and coaching and whatever else, this seems to be the average reality, which is, I just go work and I go do my thing, and I don't really bring any of that home. I don't really talk about a whole lot. How was your day? Oh, it was good. Yeah, I had some good meetings, da-da-da-da. And I have found in our relationship, this is something that I made a conscious choice of in building a new relationship, is there is no two lives. There's one life. Like, I'm living my life. Like, you're going to know everything. You're going to know where we're at, what we're doing, what's up, what's down, what's good, what's bad, what we're winning on, what we're losing on, what I'm frustrated in, so on and so forth. And I truly believe that has helped significantly over the last 6, 7, 8 months as we've dealt with some of this stuff with the business, in being fully transparent. Not that you're hiding or lying. I want to make it really clear on that. Like, I just chose in my marriage to not have the two intertwined. I didn't know how to do it, right? I always thought that if I came home and told her about this or about that, or we won or we lost or whatever, that it would affect my marriage and it would like fuck with my marriage. And I learned what fucked with it the worst was not having any of that communication. That was actually what caused radical disconnect. And with us, nothing that's gone on has been surprising. Like none of what's gone on over the last couple of weeks or last couple of months has been surprising, because the first person that I talk to and we get a letter from the FTC or whatever is you. The first person I share everything with, and the wins and the losses or the ups or the downs or the frustrations, is you. And so there really hasn't been a surprise, if you will, in, wait a second, why am I seeing my husband trend all over the place? Why are millions of people talking about this right now? I don't know anything about this.
Well, and the two things that come to mind with that is there's a foundation of trust, and there's a foundation of extreme communication.
Right.
And if you don't have those in your marriage, you're not going to be able to have that type of transparency.
Right. Well, and what built that transparency, though, is what built the trust is the vulnerability, and what creates the vulnerability is having that trust. It's like this cart and a horse thing, right? We want to trust each other, but we're not willing to be radically vulnerable.
Right.
And until we feel comfortable in having that trust, we're not going to be vulnerable. And so you never actually get there, because you're kind of always holding back, always like, well, I don't know. And I'm here to tell you, like, that the last week we've had a couple of moments where I've been at a 12, and there's been a little bit of friction in the way that we get over it, and the speed of which we get over it. I attribute to that trust, to that connection, to that vulnerability, to that transparency. But
right. And I just want to interject.
Okay.
So there has been exact moments where instead of, for me, I'm just going to speak for myself, instead of me backing down and being like, just almost hiding from that, I stood up. I not stood up against you like in a confrontational way, but I held some firm boundaries with you of like, no, back the fuck off, stop talking like that, get your shit together, I'm in this with you, and really, like, in a loving way, put you back in your place. And that right there is such an expression of trust too, because I said, like, I stood there and wasn't going to move with that.
Right.
And that you immediately were just like, all right, fuck, I don't need to fight with this one. She's on my team. Let's go. And it was really, really quick. And I was super, super proud of it. And it was totally, totally something that we planted months ago that we now can harvest.
Yeah. And I want to make this really clear, especially to the men listening to this, that I had a lot of fear for a lot of my life around the connection of home and work. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I'm out hunting, and yeah, honey, you know what I do. I mean, I work at the bank, I work here. You know what I do for a living, and that's about it, right? There's no connection to where I am and what I'm doing and the excitement that I have, or the frustration that I have, or the fear that I have, or any of these other things. And I don't believe that that's weakness. I believe that that's strength. I think one of the things that has kept us in this fight is knowing that even though we might not like it, even though there might be some fucking pain, even though there might be some anger, there might be some triggers, there might be insert all of the fucking hippy-dippy words that you want right now. I think that at the end of it all, what has kept you and I coming back, showing back up, is the trust. Is that even though I don't like it, I trust. Even though I want to freaking throw you off the balcony and you want to kick me in the friggin' teeth, there's trust there, right? And what? Why is that funny?
Yeah, it's just, I always go to this violence. I'm like, I don't think I've ever wanted to kick you in the teeth.
You've never wanted to kick me in the teeth?
No,
yes, you have.
I wanted to drive away in a car.
Drive me over in a car?
No, drive away in a car.
Well,
Leave your ass. Say, see ya, I'm going for ice cream.
Yeah, me too. I still think about that sometimes. I'm at the gas station. I'm like, I should just drive away right now. But I'm an extremism. I'm an extremist. Okay, that's how I do it. It's all in. It's like I either am at a 10
and
or I'm at a 0.
This is why I laugh,
right?
because I know who I'm married to, and I love you.
But I really want to help people understand, especially the guys right now, that like you're listening to a dude who I have an ego, I have a ton of shit, a ton of baggage. I've got all the stories. I've got the divorce. I've got the anger. I've got all the friggin' things, right? I'm not trying to pretend that I don't. Like, yeah, I love to meditate. Yeah, I can lay on a fucking beach and smoke a cigar all day long. I love crying in a good fucking movie. I cry every single time I watch Rudy. If you ever want to see me cry and say that Sean never cries, just fucking play Rudy and I'll bawl my eyes out, right? Or bagpipes. I cry when I hear bagpipes. So I'm saying that simply because I feel like I know and can connect with a lot of different men in the space, and I know a lot of men in the space in life, period, that still haven't figured out how to connect the two and have fear around bringing their woman, their wife, their significant other into that space of work, into that space of business. And I'm here to say, like, I truly believe one of the strengths that I have and that we have is that we are connected there, is that you don't have to worry about shit and wonder about shit and have fear around shit because I've brought you in. And you know the money game. You know where we are. You know what we're doing. You know what's happening. There's no fear. I mean, you might not like it. It might be uncomfortable. I mean, this shit's not comfortable. It's not like, hey, I would love to have, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people like call us frauds and call our phones and fuck with us and shit like that. You don't want that. But the reality is, like, I don't fear you not knowing things because I've given you the keys. And most of my life, I was afraid to do that.
I don't know if it's giving me the keys. I think we just know we have a common mission. You didn't give me anything.
I'm talking about my business. I'm talking about you knowing. Most men don't talk about what they do, where they're at, how much money they've got, this, that, especially a lot of entrepreneurs. It's like, here's my personal account that me and my wife share and this, that, and the other, and then here's all the business stuff. And there's not a lot of that conversation, right? There's not a lot of men that share the deep, innate reality of business with their wife, with their significant other. You understand? That's what I'm talking about. So it's not that I gave you like keys. It's that I chose to be open. Maybe is a better way to say it. Is a better way to look at it. I chose to be vulnerable and say, I'm going to bring you in or open myself up, if that's how you want to look at it, and tell you what I love about the business, what I hate about the business, about what I'm afraid of, what I like, what's going on, who we're working with, what we're doing, all of these other things. Right? Does that make more sense? Is that more clear? And that for most of my life was hard as fuck to do. And that's the point that I want to make is like being all in is all in. And this is really the first time in my life that I have not had the discernment of this is work, this is home. I have to keep these things separated. To me, it's all of it. Like it's everything's in. And if you're going to be my best friend and you're going to be my partner, then you're going to know everything. You're going to know the good, you're going to know the bad. There's the days I come home and I'm like, hey, listen, I want to burn everything to the ground. I'm going to go smoke a cigar. Here's what's going on. I hate this person. I love this person. I want to do this. I want to do that. Da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? And I truly believe, like, for me personally, it's the most freeing reality. Like, as all this shit's gone down, not one time in my mind have I ever been like, oh, fuck, I need to talk to Saxony. I hope she's okay. I hope she's good. Does she not know this? Does she not know that? And whatever. Not one fucking time. Not one time did I ever like read a new article or a new thing or have a new phone call or a new text or a new message where I was like, oh shit, I hope Saxony doesn't read this. I hope she doesn't see this. Like, it's all in. Like, all the cards are on the fucking table. Does that make sense? And I know there's a lot of dudes listening to this that know exactly what I'm talking about, that still have fear around that.
Yeah.
That still have the imposter syndrome or feel like they have to be somebody to their wife that they're not, and be the constant rock and the constant, there's no fear, like I'm just going to go crush everything. Yeah. And I think that that's a very, 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 I understand it, I get it, but one of the most liberating things you can do is to bring your significant other, bring your wife, bring your best friend, bring your partner into that world.
Yeah. This might come off harsh, but you shouldn't be married to someone who you don't have a common goal with and a common mission.
Sure.
Otherwise, like, what are they there? Like, just to make babies and have sex with? Like, I know this is whatever, but like, you shouldn't, in my opinion, you shouldn't be in a relationship with someone who you don't have a common mission with. Like, you should be partners. You should be best friends.
I don't think a lot of people know how to, I didn't know how to do that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying if you
that.
don't have that, you should just give up. It's maybe now's the time. Let's create a freaking common mission and let's go freaking get it. Because you have a skill set and I have a skill set. We hunt the buffalo very differently. Like, sometimes me hunting the buffalo or managing the part of the mission is creating peace and organization and streamlining things so the energy stays cooler, you know, or attending to the kids or things that, like, while you're running this, the family's being taken care of, because we don't have, no human being has the bandwidth to do it all. But if you don't have the same, if you're not in alignment, you're going to be struggling.
Yeah, but talk about that though, because here's the problem. These are all hippy dippy words. Alignment. You hear all that.
Hey, I didn't know. A car needs to be aligned.
No, I know, but listen though.
Tires, right?
There's a lot of people listening to this right now that could really benefit from what you're talking about right now. I didn't know how to do it.
It's because you weren't talking to your wife, right?
Right. No, but I'm not talking when it was bad. I'm talking about my entire marriage.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to connect. I was raised and programmed like work is work, and when you leave the office, you come home, and then you're dad. And you got to be dad mode, and you got to be husband mode, and you leave all of that stuff there. And that caused so much strife for me because I wanted to talk to my wife about things. I wanted to share these things. I wanted to be open and raw and vulnerable, but I didn't know how to do it. And it's not just about communication. It's this programming of like home and work.
I love that you're talking about programming, because I was just thinking, like, I was literally programmed the opposite. Every single person in my family on both sides that helped raise me, they're an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And so to me, I was conditioned the opposite. It was that you're in it together. It was like my grandparents, both sides are partnered up and building businesses, very successful businesses. My parents, the same thing. And so to me, it's like having that common mission that's good. Right. I'm glad you brought that up, because I have my perspective on that, my history on that. So it's very natural for me, but like you just said, it's very different.
I was raised the exact opposite. I was raised by two parents that worked 9 to 5 jobs, that never were entrepreneurial, never started a business. And when I started a business, when I was in my early 20s, I didn't know how to do that. It was like, and I learned this, and this is a huge lesson for me. I learned this after my divorce. I went and saw a therapist, counselor, coach, whatever you want to call him. And I was talking about how everything went down. And this is huge for guys to hear and understand, because this was probably one of the biggest aha moments that I had post-divorce. And I mean, I was married for 10 years. What he helped me see is, he's like, when we were going through the storm, when the market crashed in 2008 and I was losing millions of dollars and the whole thing, he's like, just literally visualize your family's on the boat with you. Right? And this, I can fast forward to today. This is the same thing happening today. Your family's on the boat with you, right? Your wife's agreed to be on the boat. The kids are on the boat. You're driving the boat. Not a problem. Totally fine, right? What you did is you literally pulled over to an island and you dropped them off and said, there's a huge storm coming. I'm going to go through this storm, and then I'll come back and get you. And that's literally what I did with my marriage, is I dropped my wife off emotionally on an island.
Good analogy.
And I was like, I'm going to be the man. I'm going to go through the storm. I'm going to do it by myself. I don't want you guys to have to worry about this. I don't want you to have to think about it. I don't want to have to face what's going on. So I'm going to go through this storm by myself. And literally what I did is I disconnected emotionally. And, fast forward after years and years and years of this reality, like after having conversations with my ex-wife, she's like, it wasn't about the money. She's like, I'd have lived in a cardboard box with you. It's that you shut everybody out and you chose to go to war by yourself on your own, and you left us. And even though I was home every night, and even though we were still there, and even though we were still married, you emotionally checked out. And I did, because I didn't know how to do that. And so I went balls deep in work. I went balls deep in business. I went balls deep there, and I tried to find my validation there. And what was really crazy and what was really, really, really interesting is I got really angry in this process. I was the one who did it. I got angry at her for not having my back. I got angry at her for saying, you know, you're not supportive of me, you're not helping me, look at me, I'm trying to keep this thing going and whatever. I was the one that pushed her off onto the island and went by myself. And I share this because the FTC, whatever it is, like, it doesn't matter where you're at in business. It doesn't matter what you're doing as an entrepreneur. You're going to have your fucking day. There's going to be your storm. You're going to fucking go through the hurricane. It's a guaranteed, I bet you everything that I've got, that if you're out there trying to fucking build something big, you're going to go through some shit. And as a man, what innately, deeply programmed to do is to protect our family, to look out for our kids, to shelter them from the storm, both online, offline. I mean, dude, this was before Facebook was even a thing, like when this was going on, right? Nowadays, like, my wife, you, the kids, we're all online. We're all together. We're all here. Your inbox blew up. My inbox blew up. You got shit on. You had people fucking whatever saying, you know, whatever they're saying. And what I have learned is that, like, we're on this boat together. And the more you know where we're going, what we're doing, how we're doing, it doesn't matter how big the waves get. It doesn't matter how crazy the storm gets. I've chosen to navigate the entire game, the entire ocean with you. Not just when it's nice and when it's sunny and the pina coladas are fucking flowing and the whole thing, but it's like, hey, if we're going to be in this, we're going to be all in this. We're going to be in this in the storms. We're going to be in this in the freaking smooth sailing. And from a business perspective, there's never been a freer time. I don't know if I'm saying that the right way, but, like, for me as a man, as an individual, I don't have any fear around what's going on with our relationship and with our connection, because I chose to be completely open, because I chose to, like, stay on the boat together. And I think that's a huge, huge, huge thing that I see happening with a lot of people right now, especially men, is like, we want to protect our family. We want to protect everyone from the storms, from what's going on, and it isolates us. We feel very isolated as men in that I don't want to have my wife see what's going on. I don't want her to know about this business thing failing or this thing happening or whatever. And you're actually disconnecting from the person that you should be connecting with the most.
And this is, I want to make sure we speak on both sides of this, because, you know, it's like you shared, like, what you needed and how all that. But, like, in me and all this, and probably your ex, it's like you've got to understand there's two people in this. And if something's going on, I also have my own emotions around it. I also have my own fears. I also have my own anxieties and my own, you know, uncomfortable, like, whatever. And both sides need to be honored. And that's a really difficult thing for someone, like, especially like a type A like you, like, to stop and realize that I also, like, this is affecting me. It's not all about just the person who's building the big company.
Or
like,
the name on, you know,
you
business.
have to be empathetic to your partner, and the fact that, like, I may not be the one that's being, like, directly hit, but my freaking, like, I talked to you about this. I was like, they're talking shit about my fucking husband. Like, that, you don't think that makes me feel a certain way? I don't care what they call me. Like, you can call me whatever you want. You can, you know, like, I don't really care. Like, whatever. But I have emotion around people that are going to come at my family. It doesn't mean that you can take me down, because you can't. But it's energy, and it's like something I have to process. And I think that it's really easy to overlook the secondary parts, like the kids or the wife or the people in it. But that, if you can't show up as that, then you need to fucking make sure that there's a tribe that can show up and fucking hold space for all of that, because that's really important. Because leaving her on an island had to have been terrifying.
Oh, dude, totally.
I mean,
I look at it now and I realize why my marriage ended. I realize why the emotional disconnection was there. I realized why we literally had no connection anymore, because I literally disconnected. Never knew it, didn't see it. I thought I was doing the right thing by protecting my family. Yeah. I thought me charting the course and going through the storm by myself was what I was supposed to do. I thought, like, hey, this is the best thing for the family. You guys go over here. And really what I did is I undermined the entire reality of a relationship, the entire reality of a connection. You know, I mean, it's no wonder we were disconnected. I fucking disconnected. Mm-hmm. I chose that disconnection. I chose to go over here and leave you over here because I thought it was the right thing to do. Where now, you know, I realized how powerful you and I being in this together is. And to what you were just saying, you know, I understood this the other night when we went to the concert. We had Sax and I went out. It was date night, and it was like 2 days after the whole thing fucking exploded, and it was super heightened, and it was like, brr, I mean, our phones were literally just like, it was insane. Yeah. I mean, not just calls and everything else, it was just nonstop, just brr, this buzz around everything. And we went to the concert, and we were just, we weren't there. We were disconnected. There was just radical, what do we want to call it? Disconnection. We were disconnected.
We were exhausted.
I was mad. She was mad. I was at a 12. She was at a 11.7, and you know, and we were both there, and it was not good. It was just, there was a lot of friction.
Wasn't it good?
Yeah, you weren't good. And friction. And that night when we came home, I mean, we didn't talk a lot. It was just, it was definitely disconnection. I had that epiphany. Like, it was me laying in bed, and I'm pissed, and I want to be mad, but I stepped back and I looked at it, and I was like, yeah, Sax is dealing with some shit too. Like, she's in this with me. Like, she's got stuff that she's dealing with. It's not just about me. It's not just about my, even though my name's headlines, she's also got her entire experience with this. And I went from that, you know, very selfish thought process of like, you know, hey, this is all about me kind of a thing, to, no, part of us being together and being all in on this deal is like, you're taking bullets too.
Yeah.
You know, and even though it's like, I want it to be about me, and look, it's my name and it's my company, it's my everything, like, this is that part of the conversation that I had never really experienced before and never done before in a relationship, is realizing, oh shit, she's taking bullets too. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I get to have that empathy as well, even though it's like, my name's on the fucking door and my name's on the checks, and it's, you know, I'm on the LLC and look at all me. It's like, no, if we're going to be together in this deal, and I'm not dropping anybody off, and we're going to be, if we're going through the storm together, we're both getting fucking rained on.
Exactly.
We both got a fucking poncho. We've both got to keep this thing going.
I didn't, it's like one of those things, guys, you have to understand too, like, honor the fact, if you have a queen that signed up for a big life, believe that she's brave enough and tough enough, and she's actually in it. Because that's one thing that I can sense, like, whenever we get disconnected, it's that you have this, like, you go back to this solo mission. I'm like, and I almost told you to just fuck off with that. I think I did, actually. I was like, you can fuck off with that. Like, I'm married to you. You don't think I know what I'm doing? You think I'm an idiot? Oh my God, this is a surprise. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm a very freaking smart woman. I have a lot of freaking pride. I have a lot of ambition. Like, check your fucking self. Like, we're in this together. So stop being, like, knock it off. And you were like, it really, I think me saying that, you were like, okay, moving on.
Did
Let's
I say
go.
like that? Okay.
No, but I could sense it.
It's hard, dude. It's hard. It's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love this conversation because it's real as shit. It's like real as shit, you know? And I've been in both realities. Mm-hmm. And I can't speak to the women. I mean, from my perspective, I can, but like for the guys, understanding that like it's one of the hardest things that I think we'll do. And I mean, number one, build a relationship. But number two, just be radically fucking transparent, radically open. Yeah. Radically like, look, we're both in this deal. And it's scary. It's intimidating. There's times like when you were getting phone calls and people were saying this, and you know, the messages I was getting, like, I want to rip people's fucking dicks off. Like, I would love nothing more than, I mean, when you have hundreds and hundreds
and hundreds of them. One day our show won't be explicit.
It's not like I'm gonna fucking remember any of these people anyways. Like, you popped into my space for about 6 seconds and then you were gone. It's not like I'm gonna be at a 7-Eleven and go, hey, you were the motherfucker that was talking shit about my wife. I will literally, you could give me $1 billion and I wouldn't recognize any of you fuck faces, right? But
except for the ones in my family.
At some point,
just kidding.
that was funny.
Carry on.
You went to a 12 too.
Oh, that was just I
called Sax.
I had just one little character.
I called Sax. I forget what I was at the gym or something, and dude, I could tell I was like, she was ready to go fucking postal on the phone. My man, and there was somebody in her family that made a comment.
It was very controlled.
No,
it was just
you
one
were
of those
at a
things.
fucking 12.
Okay, here
girl.
I want a little plug on this.
You were at a 12.
I just want
you know, might even been
listen.
coming up on a 13.
Listen. The beautiful algorithms of social media informed me that there's a particular person in my life that decided to talk some shit on you, not me,
Family member.
And I had just saw this person maybe 4 days prior.
Yeah.
And, then I called her out on it. I was like, really? Talk to me.
Yeah.
Really?
I called you, though, and you were at a 13. You were at a healthy 13.
Yeah, she came at me with some ammo, and I was like, oh, that's really cute that you waited. You couldn't have told me 4 days ago to my face, but you can go with strangers and talk on the internet, with other trolls. Like, thank you, which is a whole other podcast of trust people when they show you who they are. Mm-hmm. Trust it.
Yeah.
And God bless you. I know now. Carry on with life.
Yeah.
That was my 12. Don't fuck with my family,
13,
man.
You
Don't
were
fuck with my
coming
family.
up on that scale. You were pushing the envelope.
You don't talk shit to my husband, especially when you didn't do it to my face. When you had
thousands of people would say whatever. She's like, fuck all them. And then like a family member, she's like, I will murder you. I will fucking.
Well, I was more of
take
just
you
like have
into the town square and string your ass up.
It's because I expect people. If you have something to say to me, say it to my freaking face.
We're very much like that.
Like you say it to my face.
We are very much like that.
Yeah, I can handle conflict. I can have a discussion. I don't care if we agree. I can still love you and not agree with everything. Like, believe it or not, that's fine. But don't freaking talk shit behind my back when you had ample opportunity to have a conversation with me.
Most people do that.
Because, and that's why most people are
miserable.
They're miserable, and they're not living fully in life,
right.
And they're not fully putting their neck out. Like, I don't want a life like that. I'm all in. Like, if I have a problem with you, I will tell you, and I will still say it with love, and I will probably love you after. You just might not talk to me for the rest of. I just probably won't talk to you ever again.
But I'll still love you.
Yeah, I'm very, very mama bear. I'm very mama bear.
You are very mama
very
bear. But that's also a really great way to be. Just so you know, like I have through this entire process, like I haven't been. There was never a moment where I was like really angry, where I'm like, oh, it's like you said, you become aware, and that awareness is so liberating. Yeah. It's so fucking liberating to go, oh, okay, cool, out.
God,
and it doesn't matter how much you know the person, like the person, whether you've been friends for 20 years, whether you've been doing business, whether they're family, whatever. It's just like, oh, cool, see ya, gone.
And the most beautiful thing is I have multiple posts on Instagram that I wrote about this, is how much love came through.
Yeah.
I'm talking like loyal, like stand in the fire with you people. Like, and all of these are God sent. Like, God's like, here, these aren't your people. These are your people. And it was just, it was so clear. I wish everybody had the opportunity to have such clarity in who's your tribe and who's not your tribe.
Well, you know how you get there, though? I like to pat myself on the back, okay? I really do. I'm a great man, and it's just what it is.
You are a great man.
That speaks a lot to us. You know what I'm saying? And here's what I mean by that. There's a lot of people, I struggled with this a lot of my life. I struggle with who's in, who's out, who are my real friends, who are not. And that struggle was my own, because I wasn't all in. Because I didn't know how to be all in. I was not playing. I was not naked. I was still lying. I was still over here. I was hiding. I was manipulating. I was like, yeah, I'm here. I'm whatever. And that causes a lot of fucking conflict. Like, even though there's been this heightened sense of whatever, we have a ton of peace in our life.
A ton of peace.
Like, we're really good. And that's been the interesting thing with this is a lot of my friends have reached out, phone calls, text messages. Hey, man, are you good? I'm like, bro, I'm really good. Yeah. Like, I knew this was coming. My business is really great. You see me at the racetrack. Like, we you know what I'm saying? We're not broke. Like, we're building our ranch. Like, we're really good. And it's interesting because, like, that clarity is because we're clear.
Yeah.
That clarity is because we're all in. It's like, look, if you like us, great. If you don't like us, great. A lot of my life, I lived trying to get people to like me with a false fucking reality. And this is a huge thing that we talk about with Lions on Sheep and everything else. It's like, while you're not being you, while you're giving people what you think they want, while you're giving people, a fake whatever, don't be surprised why what shows up in your space is fake as fuck. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so as we get really clear, there wasn't a whole lot of like surprise for me with all of this, right?
No.
I expected all the trolls and all the fake motherfuckers out there who follow
God
me
bless
to
them.
show up, and they did. But like the people that are our people, it was like, oh yeah. Anyways, carry on. Good to see you today. Everything good? Yep, great, awesome. Wearing my T-shirt. We're all good. Hey, let's go smoke a cigar. There was never any of that. Like, I never had a big surprise where I was like, oh my God, like all of these people that I thought I was cool with, I'm no longer cool with. Like, because the real recognize the real. And the more real I am, the more real we are, the more real the people are in our space.
I also had another conversation with another family member about
Just fucking say it.
about the first person, the troll family member, and she said, well, you know, something. How did she say? I can't remember. Like, basically, you know, maybe it's just best to just keep quiet and just you know, let's just stay neutral. And I thought for a moment, and I paused, and I was like, no. I said, I'm completely disagree with you. That's part of the problem.
That is part of the problem.
Is that nobody's freaking saying anything for real anymore. They're saying what's acceptable. They're staying neutral. Even though it's blatant what's happening, like, nobody stands up for things anymore. They, like, go along with things because they're afraid to offend. Like, fuck that. You can tell me whatever. Is it offensive? Man, it might not offend me. I might not agree with it. But that was like, this is a person who is hugely impactful in my life, said maybe it's best to just stay neutral. And I was like, I am impressed that I have so much fire, because that's where it came from. But I'm like thinking like, no, that's the problem. Is
why so many people struggle? Because they stay neutral.
They stay neutral.
Yep.
And there's the thing is you did a den call on this. It's like, you have a unique gift. If you are not using that gift, you will be miserable, because it is supposed to be alive. That fire is supposed to be burning, like we all are. And it's like, if you just stay neutral because you need to fit in a box because that's what people told you normal is, you're fucking miserable.
Or you're scared to get shot at, or you're scared to get exposed, or you're scared to get whatever. Like, there's nothing. I mean, yeah.
And the thing is too, is it's like all this trolling happening. Like, I laugh because I told the girl in my family, I said, God bless you that you never make a mistake in life.
Oh yeah.
Because people are so quick to sever heads.
And
I'm like, whoa. You mean you haven't been 21 yet?
Oh, yeah.
Or before?
Yep.
You haven't done something stupid? Like,
it's so easy to judge.
So easy to judge.
We sit there and we judge. And I shared some of those messages of the people.
Yeah.
There were a number of people, like a lot, who came out of the gates, guns blazing, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, yada, yada, yada. Like, literally instant. They read the headline, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Well, then, 48 hours later, I posted my video, my response to the whole thing, and I can't even tell you how many messages came back of people going, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I was quick to judge. I owe you an apology. Remember, I read you a couple of them last night. Well, guys are like, I owe you an apology. I wasn't thinking. I followed the mob. I jumped in the deal, and I said a whole bunch of shit about
humans,
you.
yeah.
And I have to take it back, and I apologize. And it's just an interesting thing because, like, I don't have a lot of emotion around it. Like, well, I shouldn't say that. I have a lot of emotion, but like, I don't have like a real like need to say anything to that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because I realize
any resentment or
no. Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
It doesn't change the course of your life.
It doesn't change the course of my life. It doesn't fuck with me. It doesn't whatever. I just realized that like those are the type of people that I'm glad that I'm not. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
You know, because I look at things and realize that if you're not asking questions and you're not going any deeper, you know what I mean? It says something about you. And that's one of the real cool things about my life is I've chosen to be radically honest and radically open and radically vulnerable, right? Which is what makes this whole thing really interesting because in 2020, I did going back to the whole thing, I did a video and told everybody where we bought our apparel. And it's kind of like, nobody wants to pay attention to that. Now all of a sudden they want to jump on the freaking crucify train. It's like, well, yeah, but I already told you 2 years ago exactly how my business was run, and now you're mad. Yeah. And it's interesting because, like, what you said is dead on. We will crucify, we will massacre someone in an instant without even thinking about it. And the second we stumble, what's the first thing we do? Beg for forgiveness. Beg
or mercy.
For empathy.
Maybe not forgiveness, mercy.
Beg for mercy.
Yeah.
And what happens is then you get shit on and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. People are so mean. And just put that in your pipe and smoke it for a second. Any of you listening to this right now, whether you like me, don't like me, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It is a guaranteed fact that at some point in time you're going to make a mistake. At some point in time you're going to have an oversight. You didn't think about it. You didn't see it, whatever. Whether it was malicious, not, it doesn't fucking matter. There will come a point in time that you'll stumble, and you'll be begging for mercy. And just remember that while you shit all over somebody. Remember that the next time the celebrity does this, the athlete does this, the business owner does this, the neighbor does this, when you want to sit in your fucking living room and gossip and shit and talk all kinds of madness about them, you will be on the other end of that at some point in time. Now, if you're like us and you want to build really big things, it's a guaranteed fact you will. So that's kind of the other point too, is if, Oscar Wilde said it best. The only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. And at the end of the day, when you want to build something big, when you truly want to squeeze all the juice out of this life, like you talking about the gifts, when you realize that God put you here for something big, God didn't just put you here to work at the fucking bank and retire at 65 and die.
Some people are really good. We need people working.
I'm not I'm talking to the people that know that there's something more. I'm not knocking anybody.
Sure.
You want to fucking work the 9 to 5 your entire life, God bless you. I have nothing against that. But if there's something in your soul that's like, yo, I'm meant for more, I'm meant to build big, I guarantee you, your day will come when the light will shine on you, and it will be radically uncomfortable. It will be radically painful. It will be radically humiliating. It'll be radically vulnerable for you. And you have two choices. Like, stand in that fucking fire and be refined by it, or run away from it. You run away, you will never be forged. You will never become that hardened steel. You look at the old samurai swords, and it took them years to make them. Years, because they would pound the metal and pound it and pound it and pound it in the hottest of fucking fires. It'd take 20 years to make the highest quality samurai sword on earth. And we run away in a second. We follow, we stumble and we run. We bail in 2 fucking seconds from something that might be a little bit uncomfortable. And it is a high probability that you will have that day. And so I encourage all of you listening to remember that the next time you want to shit in somebody's Cheerios, when you don't know a whole lot about it, or you haven't really read all the details, or you're not really sure, just remember that will come to you one of these days.
Give people the benefit of the doubt too. I don't think most people are malicious.
If they've already shown you that you're an asshole, then probably not.
Yeah, but I mean when you read headlines, like, I would be really cautious. Like, I think we are conditioned to jump to the people are malicious, the people are bad, because that's what sells media.
Sure,
that's what gets the buzz going for them. Right. That's what gets 10 million shares of what they want you to consume, because it's hot. They spin it, and I'm sure this happens like on most, I would imagine.
They call it clickbait for a reason, man.
Yeah.
Some of the wealthiest people on planet Earth are phenomenal copywriters. You want to be a good business person? Become a good copywriter. Write tantalizing headlines. I'm good at this because it's what I do with social media. I'm a great copywriter. I know how to write headlines that get people to pay attention, that get people to read my shit, that get people to look. At the end of the day, this is what media is. This is what clickbait is literally, here's a really tantalizing picture with an amazingly tantalizing headline. I have to read this. I have to click on it. Or I just take it as that's the entire fucking article, and then I run with it. And that's what's really fascinating, is how few people will actually click and will actually read. You know what I mean? And
when people show you their true colors, like with me, like, I have a lot of grace with people, but it doesn't mean you're going to be in my life. It doesn't mean I have to forgive you. I mean, I do forgive you, because I feel whenever somebody hurts you or comes at you, it's like there's something in them that's causing them to react that way. And it's like having boundaries around without letting it hurt you back. So it's like without having the resentment of caring. Like, all these trolls, I literally pray for them. Like, that's gotta suck to want to go and freaking talk about someone you know nothing about. Right. That's what you do with your life. Like, that's what you're doing with your life. Like, I literally pray for you that you can come up with a better course of action that you could live your life with.
Is it bad that I haven't prayed for any of them? And I really don't give a fuck about them?
I do.
I'll let you handle that. That's the yin and the yang. You go ahead and pray for the trolls all you want.
That's where my heart goes to it.
I just block them and say, get the fuck out of my space.
Jesus would forgive them. He would be like...
No, Jesus would flip the table over and kick him out of the fucking temple. That's what Jesus would do. You know what I'm saying?
We'll have to ask him when we see him.
I already asked him. He told me to just fucking block them. He said, fuck those guys. They got nothing
Sax
to do
will pray for their little souls.
Sax has got it.
You
just
flip the table and block them. Carry on.
I did have some fun trolling some of them.
I know.
You see it enough, and like, look, I mean, I have a really interesting sense of humor, and
You do.
yeah.
I think a lot of people know that.
If they didn't, they do now.
Oh, golly.
Good chat. Anything else you want to say on this, babe?
Probably, but I think I'm good.
It's been a really this. I wanted to talk about this today because I feel like there's a lot of lessons in this, for me personally, in how I had my first marriage, how I operated my business, how closed I was, how separated I was between the home and the work, and how I am now. And they're radically different. And I'm a radically different person, but I can tell you like that I'm far more happy, I'm far more at peace, I'm far more open today than I've ever been. And this was a big thing. This was a big deal. This is, this was big. I don't know what else to say. This was just a big deal.
There's a lot of energy.
There's a lot of energy around this. And not one time did I ever like worry about my marriage, worry about you, worry about us, our connection, or maybe she's going to see something that she doesn't already know, or I'm like trying to, protect you from anything. I'm like, fucking let's send it, man. I mean, if we're going to build big, bring on the fucking army. You know what I mean?
Let's not call on anymore right now. We could just
we're
do
good
a
for
vacation
now.
maybe.
We'll take a vacation.
Yeah, that
We'll
sounds
go
like
relax for a minute.
Sounds like a great idea.
Sit on the beach and talk shit to the trolls.
No, we're not gonna. We're not probably
It's
gonna have our phones
we're taking
on.
a vacation. We're going to take a couple days off, and it's a no cell phone vacation.
Oh, God bless! I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yay!
Finally, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody too
Yeah.
I mean, our tribe is badass, man.
Oh my gosh!
We really have an amazing fucking tribe. Like
Savages with so much heart.
there are a lot of really great people in our life, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that we have good people in our life. I'm proud that we've built what we've built. I'm proud of not only the company and where we are and what we're doing. I'm proud that we're denting the universe. Like we really are making a change, and like the people that are part of our tribe, that are part of Lions Not Sheep, part of the Lions Den, our friends. Like there are a lot of really great people out there, and I get jaded a little bit and think that most people are assholes, and there's a high probability that I'm right, but there's also some really great people out there, and I've been really I don't want to say like impressed, but just really filled. Is a better way. I've been really filled the last week or so with how many rad people there are. Not just because you're sticking up for me or the company or whatever, but just like solid ass good fucking people.
It's like the heart of how it's the heart and the intensity of how they've come back and really stood
their ground. Like
they really
stood where they
their
are.
Ground. And it really didn't really have that much to do with us. It was like they stood on their principles, backing something that they believe in.
Right.
And it's like having a brave heart. I told you this the other night. That's what that keeps coming to my mind. Brave heart. Like to do this, you have to have a brave heart. And so many people in our space do. Some
really rad people.
My heart is full.
That's good.
For sure.
Me too. On to the next.
Yes.
All right, guys, we love you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please share this with anybody you think would get value out of it. Please please leave us a comment, and spread the good word. And until next time, we love you. See ya.
Love you. Bye.